Hey guys, guess what? Sounds like we finished our season series against the Devils. So yeah, we are back with another episode, and you guys are just getting me for this episode, Sam Wallace. Sam Driscoll is out for this episode, but don't worry, he will return. And yeah, so just me, and boy, what a great game. So I'm recording this on a Sunday, as usual, for our Monday episodes. But I am recording this well, after last night's win against New Jersey. Boy, heck of a game that was. And we will get to that game. But first, as usual, if you're new to the podcast, thank you for spending time listening to us. And another thing, too, is that if you feel like you want to donate to our podcast to help things be more up to date, there is a link for you to submit donations in both our YouTube and traditional podcast stuff like Spotify and Apple. It's found in the descriptions on both of those mediums. So, we're gonna get to some normal news. Last week was a little bit didn't really get a lot of news just because it was a weird week with the roster freeze and all that. But a couple of big things to come out. One, Detroit fired Derek Lalonde and hired Todd McKellen. And I mean, Detroit, they're kind of in a dumpster fire right now. They really are. And hopefully, I know that they did lose on the first game that Todd McKellen was head coach, but maybe that will jolt a spark in this Detroit team. But they're not looking good right now, and they're kind of in the same boat as Buffalo. I mean, you would think with Steve Yzerman as general manager of this team would be a little bit better because we see the success that Tampa is currently on, and Steve Yzerman was a huge part of Tampa being on a good run because he drafted well. And I do think Detroit has drafted well under Steve Yzerman, but it seems like with the amount of losses that they've had this season, it's kind of trending toward a step back than a step forward. But it seems to be coming not just with them, but also with Buffalo as well. So I kind of see both Detroit and Buffalo, both in the same division, kind of trending toward the same area. So we'll see how Detroit does with that new hire of Todd McAllen. And another thing, too, is Colorado made some news in the fact that they have extended Blackwood to a 5-year, $5.25 million contract. And is there risk to this contract? Absolutely. There is. But I understand why Colorado did it. Honestly, I would say this contract kind of reminds me a little bit of Carolina trying to sign KK. They wanted a good contract out of that. Now, that contract, obviously, I don't think is doing good for the Hurricanes, obviously. But Colorado, I think, is trying to do the same thing as trying to get a bargain out of the contract because Blackwood has been playing very good. He has a 940 save percentage, playing very well recently. And I think Colorado's like, we want to have a good contract with this guy because if you look at the starting, like the true starting goalies, the Hellbucks, the Shesterkins, especially Shesterkin's contract recently, I'm sure Joe Sackett's like, I want someone that, yes, is this a bit of a risk? Is this uh, contract probably a little bit more than what Blackwood is now, even though he's playing amazing? Yeah, but it could look very smart for Colorado if Blackwood continues to be playing amazing for them. And it makes me think about Carolina a bit. And I mean, we keep talking about, well, they need a starting goalie. And even though, from what I've heard, Blackwood was still playing good in San Jose, maybe you need somewhat of a Peter Mrazek type of goalie, a goalie that hasn't been playing so good for another team, but you come in and kind of rejuvenate their career. So it just makes you wonder with that extension if Carolina, if they want to get an established goalie, good luck because I don't think you're going to pay the price for it. But you could find a diamond in the rough. I'm not saying that's impossible, but eh, when I'm talking about diamond in the dust type of goalie is a goalie that actually has NHL experience. I'm not talking the Tokarski, Spencer Martin, even though Tokarski's been playing great, but maybe they can find somewhat like a Ville Huso, like I mean, Vamilka, I think would be great. I really do. But do they need someone like a Vamilka? No, I don't think they do. And I mean, maybe Philip Grubauer from Seattle, or just I'm not saying they should get these names. I'm just throwing out ideas. So maybe this helps Carolina be like, well, maybe we don't need to get a true starter. We just need to find someone that can be that's a little bit serviceable now, but could be really good for us later, because they're seeing that with Mackenzie Blackwood. So we'll see. Again, I do think Blackwood was playing pretty good for San Jose before he got traded, but I think with that extension, Carolina probably looks at that and be like, interesting. So that's kind of it for just things around the NHL that's happened recently. Again, if you're new, we don't really go through injuries. We don't really go through waivers unless it's actual Hurricanes related, because this is a Hurricanes podcast. So now we're going to get to Hurricanes side of things. And one thing that has started is the World Junior Cup. And we have stated this before in a previous episode. We've had three players in the World Junior Cup: Oscar Voulet, Bradley Nadeau, and Felix Unger-Sorum. From what I've heard, I think Oscar Voulet, he scored a goal for Team Sweden. He's on the same team as Unger-Sorum. And Unger-Sorum, from what I've heard, he is playing fantastic. So good on those players. Bradley Nadeau, I haven't heard much from Nadeau because, again, I'm not watching these games, but I'm just trying to stay in the loop of those who do watch the games to see how good these players does. But I think Bradley Nadeau, from what I've heard, he was on the ice when Canada scored. But Canada, they certainly had a shock in the system since they lost to Latvia, I believe, in a shootout. So that was a big surprise right there. So we'll see how our prospects do in the World Junior Cup. And another thing too, that this happened before the game against New Jersey here at home, is the Hurricanes have recalled Ty Smith. And I was a little bit, and I saw that before the game, and I was like, interesting. And then we find out as we got closer to the game that Shane Gostisbehere is hurt. I don't know how long Gostisbehere is going to be out, but if he's going to be out for a long period of time, I mean, did I think Ty Smith was terrible? No, but did I think he wasn't deployed right? Yeah, I might think that more. And the reason why is because, listen, Ty Smith is no Shane Gostisbehere. He just isn't. And I just did not like that he was put on the first power play unit. I wasn't a big fan of that, because to me, if Ghost is hurt, then I would think the logical conclusion would be, okay, you put Burns up on the first pair, and if you want Ty Smith on the second pair, okay, but it was a bit of a head scratcher when I saw Ty Smith playing on the first power play unit. It just was. And again, it's stuff like that that makes me question Rod Brindamore. It, it is. Even though Brindamore, I'll give him credit, he has been keeping the lines the same, because I know both Sam and I in previous episodes have kind of criticized him for mixing up the lines too much and calling him Rod Blindamore instead of Rod Brindamore. So I'm happy that Brindamore has kept the lines the same. And to be honest, I with him keeping the lines the same, I'm happy with that because to be honest, even though I thought the additions were good from Dundon slash Tolsky, because Dundon's very hands on, I didn't think they did enough. I didn't. Listen. I still, even though I thought, well, we'll talk about the New Jersey game at home where we won, but there are a couple things I think they could have done. They could have. I didn't think Kachekov and Anderson should have been the duo. I think they could have changed stuff up there. I think they certainly could have bought out KK and try and get another big forward in because we currently kind of have four. Even though Roslovic's been playing pretty good, I'll give Roslovic credit. He's been playing very good, especially in the win against New Jersey. So that's kind of my assessment on the whole Gossip Bear situation. I mean, Ty Smith, I think he's a good skater. Beyond that, though, I mean, he kind of is a depth defenseman. And I think it's fine having a depth defenseman play a few games, but you can't have them play like 10 straight games. Just can't. So I hope Gossip Bear isn't hurt long term, but we'll see how that injury goes. Only time will tell. Another thing too is a couple milestones was hit. Slavin skated his 700th NHL game at New Jersey. Congrats to him. For those who are a fan of the podcast, know I am a huge fan of Slavin, even though I don't think he's had the best of this season. But I thought he was really good last night. Last night, I thought we saw what Slavin could do. I really did. And Brendan Moore, to me, this is a bigger headline, even though I thought Slavin skating a 700th NHL game is fantastic. Brendan Moore is the fastest NHL coach in NHL history to reach 300 wins. Wow. Congrats to Rod Brendan Moore. And listen, I might have some criticisms about Rod Brendan Moore, but regardless, he has been instrumental to this team both as a player and as a coach. He helped us get out of that long playoff drought. And I will say, I think he is still one of the best coaches in the NHL. And I think if Brendan Moore was let go, I would say, oh, he can find a job instantly after that because he's that good. It's just there are some times I think in some instances with coaches and teams where coaches might lose the locker room. And I do think that can happen. Do I think Brendan Moore has lost the locker room? No. I think if he did lost the locker room, I don't think we would be in the playoff position. Sorry. I don't think this team would be in a playoff position. But Brendan Moore's an excellent coach. He really is. It's just there are some things that I think he could do better. But again, just because you're being let go doesn't mean you're a terrible coach. Listen, I strongly believe when it comes to especially NHL coaches, I don't watch a lot of the other sports. It's mainly hockey. Even though I am a UNC fan, I will watch a UNC game every now and then. But Brent, I mean, Brendan Moore is still an excellent coach, and him hitting 300 wins as the fastest coach to do it, that's impressive. And congrats to Brendan Moore. Again, him being let go doesn't mean he is the worst coach. It isn't. So I still think he is an excellent, excellent coach. And that's pretty much it for Hurricanes news, I would say in general. Another thing, too, that I actually thought was cool, to be honest, and I think we have maybe some time, is I thought it was pretty cool. The Hurricanes brought out the Zamboni popcorn bowls, whatever you like to call them. That was pretty cool. I was at the game last night, and I think I saw they were $30. I don't know if I'd spent $30 on one. Maybe, maybe not. I think from what I saw, you get free refills, but even then, still, I thought the Zamboni popcorn bowls are pretty cool. They did. So again, I just don't know if I'd spend $30. So, but that hey, listen, that's up to you if you want to spend $30 on a Zamboni popcorn bowl. So yeah, thought that'd be fun to insert in. So yeah, that's pretty much it for Hurricanes news and news in general. We're gonna get to a couple of sponsors, and then we will cover both the Devils games, which are the last games that we play the Devils this season. So we'll go to those sponsors.
It's the most wonderful time of the year for getting in on all the hoops, football, and hockey action at DraftKings Sportsbook. In the season of giving, we're being gifted college football and basketball, pro football and basketball, and pro hockey too, almost 24/7. And here's a gift for all new customers: bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins when you bet just $5. Happy holidays from DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Blue Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bet must win to receive reward. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/bball. One of the things I like about watching hockey is the physical play we get to see, which is why Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes it easy to see your favorite team, concerts, or shows. One of the upcoming games I am looking forward to is a Canes versus Capitals game in January. And yes, that is my co-host Sam, if you heard him. They have a few super deals that are under $100 in lower level seating. That's why one of my favorite features is the super deal. Remember, you can also get a view from your seat in the app before you apply. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code THPN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code THPN for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time.
It is game time, and we're going to start with the loss at New Jersey because we played New Jersey twice. And this is a game where, listen, I thought the Canes were good, but they weren't great like they were in the win. And I think us fans can kind of, I would say, see a little bit of a difference. So again, I mean, I thought Hurricanes were good. Did they get out goalied? Certainly. You had Markstrom playing against Kachekov this game. And the first goal is the Hurricanes. It's a hard, very, very hardworking goal of Robinson. He was able to get a loose puck right behind a shot to. My bad. It took me time there. But it was actually a good, great shot from Burns, who actually I thought Burns had a good game at New Jersey. And I thought he was one of the few players that had a great game, not just a good game. And Robinson was able to find the loose puck, scores, great hardworking goal. To me, out of all of the additions that we have had this past off season, I have been more impressed with Robinson than I would say probably with any other player. Listen, I love Ghost. I think Ghost is great, but I just think Robinson, he fits Like it seems like his play fits perfectly with this team, and he has been just doing fantastic. I love his play. Now, do I think he's a Stefan Nason type of player? No, in terms of because I thought Nason has more of like an impact in the game. But Robinson, man, when he is on, he can skate. He's a big body. And I like that about Robinson. So maybe he's a player that you look to extend because I think he just meshes so well with this team. I think honestly he meshes so well than any other addition that we have made, even with like I would say Walker and Roslovic, just because I think he plays that well. So great goal from Robinson. And then after that, New Jersey. I mean, you can tell this New Jersey team in this game, like they just had a step ahead, I would say, compared to the Hurricanes because they were flying. And I thought there were moments maybe at home, but New Jersey, they are a very fast team. They like to stretch the ice. And what Carolina needs to do is to kind of neutralize it. And if you can neutralize it, you can. They did that last night in that win, but at New Jersey, it was a bit of a problem. And you have Palat scoring, and that's a goal. I don't really blame Kachekov because it was one of those goals. I mean, that Palat goal, I mean, there was a huge screen in front of Kachekov, and it's very hard to obviously as a goalie to make a save when there's a massive humanity, as John Forsland would say, in front of the goalie. So I again don't really blame Kochekov too much for that goal. Again, I thought he had a good game, but there are a couple goals that he could have had, and I think one of them was a goal where I'm like, you know what, I'm not going to beat him over that Palat goal. Now the Hishe goal, that was a goal that I thought was poor communication from both him and Orlov because it was a 2-on-1 chance. And usually, when it comes to 2-on-1 chances, you want to have the defenseman to focus on the player without the puck and the goalie to focus on the player with the puck. That didn't happen. Both Kochekov and Orlov were both eyeing the player that had the puck, which in this case was Nason, former Hurricane. Again, love Nason. And it, I mean, they just, I don't know if they knew of Hishe on the other side, but Hishe gets the puck because Kochekov and Orlov were both focusing on Nason, and Hishe scores, and that's to me a goal where poor decision making. And while I might not fault Kochekov entirely on that instance, there still needs to be that communication between Orlov and Kochekov. So I think both of them kind of reside the blame there because it was a mess. Like it could have been executed a lot better. So obviously deflating. New Jersey is up 2-1 heading into the second period, but we're able to tie it. Again, Brent Burns, who I thought played excellent against New Jersey. Regardless of my criticism of Burns, and I know my co-host Sam has strong criticism of Burns, I will admit to whenever they have a good game, praise them for that because it does help. So Burns, he gets a goal from a pass from Roslovic, and great goal. He's kind of flying in. He's driving into the high danger zone area of. Again, I keep getting New Jersey's goalie name wrong in my head. Markstrom. Yes, he was able to shoot it past Markstrom, and it was a nice wrist shot too. Like it wasn't a slap shot; it was just a nice, good wrist shot. We're able to tie it, and we're like, okay, we could possibly build something here. And another thing I've noticed too, I would say during the skid that the Hurricanes are on, and yes, I know they won last night at home against New Jersey. To me, in order to prove they're out of the skid, they need to build upon that. And with uh the skid that I've noticed, like two things have been the problems for the Hurricanes that I see. One, goaltending. Kachekov uh, hasn't been great. Tokarski, I mean, even though I think Tokarski has been great, maybe that Nashville game wasn't his best, but even in the Nashville game, he made incredible saves. Goaltending has kind of been the Achilles heel for the Hurricanes. I think that's the big problem. And I would say a clear second has been the production being not good amongst our top players and the likes of Netches. Aho, he's been getting points. Even though I don't think he's been playing great hockey, he's been getting points, which is sometimes the most important thing, I would say. And then you have Svetch and Jarvis. Both of those, like that's your top four. And there are times where when I get frustrated with this Hurricanes team, where I see the bottom, the depth players like the Stalls, the Martnucks, the Robinsons outwork our top six players. And it's frustrating because it's like they know how to play the game, but our top six players aren't. And I think part of it is they play too cute. They need to simplify game. I'm not saying they need to play the same exact game as Martinook Stahl. They just need to simplify their game. And I think a big thing of Netris with his, I mean, he's fallen off. Granted, I'm giving him some leeway because of the monstrous start that he's had. He really needs to simplify his game. So, just a couple of observations I've noticed during this skid that they have been on. But unfortunately, that tie that Brent Burns had, you have Luke Hughes scoring. And to me, this was a bit of puck luck. I did because I believe, I can't remember which player the puck went off of. I might have been Burns. I could be wrong about that, though. But it was just puck luck, and Luke Hughes was able to get the loose puck and score it. And yeah, I would say that there was some puck luck New Jersey had in that win over us Friday night, but I always believe that you need to work for your luck. Like that goal means nothing, or I would say, yeah, that goal means nothing if Luke Hughes doesn't even shoot it. You got to work for it. You just do. It's a sport. You need to work for your luck. Even though luck may come your way, it means nothing if you don't act upon it. That's kind of my whole thing when it comes to luck, especially in the sport of hockey. So obviously you have Dawson Mercer scoring, and that kind of seals the game for New Jersey to win. And to me, now that's a goal I think Kachekov needs to have. And I would put some blame on Slavin, to be honest, because Mercer was out in front of Kachekov. I mean, Slavin, he needed to kind of block Mercer out from being that close to Kachekov. And Slavin didn't do that. But regardless, Kachekov, I mean, the initial shot was from Jack Hughes, and he was able to make a good save, but the save was a rebound. He gave him a huge rebound because of that save, and you can't have that with Kachekov. So that's a goal I think Kachekov needs to have because it was just a bad rebound off of him. You can't do that. So Slavin has some part of it, yes, but Kachekov, when the puck comes towards you, you gotta do your best to seal that puck to you and not just let it rebound off of you. So Carolina falls, unfortunately, to New Jersey that game, but there is some redemption. Some, because Carolina is able to win at home against New Jersey, and that is our next game that we're going to that I'm going to cover, which is a much more of a fun game. And to be honest, a lot happened in this game. That's what makes this game fun for me to review. So, first period, not a lot going, even though I thought there's a difference compared to the game at New Jersey. I thought Carolina, was kind of on the verge of being great. There's I thought more drive in the players in this game compared to the game at New Jersey. And what I noticed from New Jersey, they were a bit lax, I thought, defensively. Even though offensively, I mean, they're really good. Obviously, you have Jack Hughes, Timo Meyer, Jesper Bratt. I mean, they're good offensively, but even with the additions of like Brett Pesci and um, I think Jonas Siegenthaler. Sorry, I don't know what happened there, but even with the addition of Pesci, like New Jersey, I've always thought if you can get New Jersey's because of their defense, and it's not the addition of the players necessarily. It's just how they play. It's their style of play, and especially when you have Sheldon Keefe as your coach, because if you guys didn't know, Sheldon Keefe was the head coach of Toronto, who obviously has one of the best offenses in the game. So you're definitely going to be getting your fair share of goals if you're coaching New Jersey, knowing that you've had that experience with Toronto. But Carolina, I thought, had more pep in their step. And first period, nothing really happened. And it was deflating to see Cotter for New Jersey to score on a breakaway goal on Dustin Tokarski. And Tokarski, again, I thought he had a great game. I just don't think he's the solution. But really, honestly, I thought he played great. None of the goals I thought in that game were on him. In fact, the Cotter goal I thought was mainly on KK for giving up the puck. And yes, I was a bit salty about KK after that because there's there's more to give with him, I think. And I think we saw that. I thought he built a game after that sloppy mishandling of the puck. It was just a very, very bad turnover. It was in the neutral zone, and Cotter was able to come out on the breakaway and score. But Carolina does show signs of life, and it is Orlov scoring on a blast from Walker and Jarvis. And I believe that blast, it was 92.2 miles per hour. What a shot. Orlov has one of the hardest shots on this team, and I love it. Orlov, I'm telling you, he had a game. And we'll get to the third period, trust me. But he had a great game. And it's tied 1-1 heading into third, which is good. He kind of needed a goal in that second period to kind of help with your confidence against a team like New Jersey. But in the third period, New Jersey, I mean, I thought they started out and they kind of looked good at the I'll say the very, very start of the third period. They looked pretty good. And obviously you had Palat scoring. And I would say that's a little bit on Burns there, to be honest. Now, granted, Burns was pushed from Palat so that Palat could be open for a pass. But regardless, Burns, I mean, you're a big guy, dude. You can't just have someone just push you like that. So didn't really like that from Burns, but either way, New Jersey playing uh I mean, they played, I thought, pretty good at the very start of that third, and then you had Carolina taking over for the rest of the third. And obviously, Jake Allen was in goal for New Jersey, and this is a goal he should have stopped, in my opinion, from my observation of the Aho goal. I mean, great shot from Aho, but Allen, he should have saved that. He really should have. Aho gets the goal, and it's an assist from Roslovic, and it's tied up, which is really, really awesome. And I was happy that Carolina tied it. They really needed to tie it. And then after that Aho goal, you have the hit on Netras from Meyer. And obviously, we knew how he got hurt. It was a knee to knee type of thing. But if you honestly, I would say if you look at that hit, I would say there is some gray area on that hit because you can tell the New Jersey player that it was Meyer. Uh, when he tried to deliver a hit, he tried to use it with his upper body strength. it wasn't like I really have seen a lot of knee to knee hits. Um, I've seen a lot of worse knee on knee hits, and this was a hit where I thought Meyer was actually going for um, a hit with his arms instead of his knee. And it was, to me, just more unfortunate than Meyer intentionally going for a knee on knee. So I don't know if I agreed with the match penalty there, to be honest. But I mean, the way Natchez' knee reacted to that was really scary. And obviously, he went to the dressing room because of that. And now, what's great, he was able to come back out and play for the rest of the game. But that was just a scary incident. The way his knee reacted to Meyer's knee, very, very scary. I was really praying he would come back, but he does. Just very unfortunate. But did I think Meyer deserved a match penalty? No, I did not, because I thought he was trying to go for more of an upper body hit by extending his arms. Or I mean, yeah, it was his arms. Maybe he was trying to go for an elbow, but you can tell in some way he was going a little bit like this. Sorry, there's a chair whine behind me, but that was just a very scary incident for Natchez, and fortunately he seems okay after that. And then you have Carolina taking the lead from a shot from KK, and Blake is able to deflect it in. And I think KK has a good shot. I do. And to me, that was an instance where I thought KK had a very good shot. It's just he doesn't use it. And there's a lot of players, and I would say including Burns, to be honest, even though Burns scored at New Jersey, where they don't utilize their strength, which the strength is their shot. So just an observation there. And then you have Roslovic scoring from Jarvis and Walker. Boy, this was just a gorgeous goal. It's a 2-on-1 chance for Carolina. Jarvis is able to make a sick pass to Roslovic. Jake Allen had no chance. Jake Allen tried to do, I think, a windmill with his legs because he was so out of position. And to me, that was the best play of the night in terms of goals. Like, that was just a beauty. And when that goal happened, I was like, okay, Carolina, they should win this. They're clearly the better team this game. Really should. And another thing that I've noticed too, like obviously you had that hit from Meyer, but New Jersey was trying to be physical, but Carolina was not going to go down. I thought, funny enough, even though I didn't like some of the dirty hits, especially the Meyer incident, that just soured on me. And whenever you're at games, your emotions are at a high. You just are. And I was at that game. So when I first saw that hit, I was like, what the heck? So, but New Jersey, there, regardless of that hit, they were playing a physical game. And to be honest, I want to thank New Jersey for that, because Carolina needed somewhat of a game like that, because New Jersey was able to bring that physicality out of the Hurricanes. And Hurricanes were not backing down. They were starting to throw hits. KK, I thought, built a really strong game in that third period because he was able to be physical. Natchez was able to be physical. And another player, even though I think he can be more physical, is Fetch. What I liked about Fetch this game is that he was actually able to get grade A chances. And if he can get more grade A chances, he's going to score because he is that talented. And we haven't really seen that on the skid with Fetch. If he can get more grade A chances, then I think Fetch will score. So obviously he had one, but he hit the pad on Allen, and then that one toward the end of the game where Fetch he hit the post because but he was able to juke out Allen. So he was so close to getting a goal. And that KK line, I do think was the least effective line. I love the Jost line. The Jost line's been playing excellent. But regardless, Carolina They're up 4-2, and then you have the Haula hit. This hit I thought deserved more of a match penalty than the Meyer hits, and the fact that I thought that was directly toward the head of Orlov. Orlov was down. I was like, oh no, not this again. But Orlov was able to get back up, went to the bench, got a towel to wipe his blood off. Apparently, I think he had a broken nose. And to me, the staple of the game was him coming back to Orlov was able to come back and just bring Haula down. I was so happy, and to me, that was the biggest highlight of the game. Even with us scoring all those goals, I thought that was the highlight because I was like, that's what this team needs. They need to be agitating. And again, I think there's a difference from playing dirty to playing physical. And this team can play physical when I would argue when they are at their best, they play physical. And we saw that last night. But I just loved it. And that Orlov was able to just bring down Haula. Us fans, and I was one of them, we just had a chant of like saying Haula sucks. Because honestly, Haula, us fans do not like him, especially with the stuff that came out with his differences between him and Brenda Moore when he was on the team. So I was just so happy to see that. I could watch that on repeat all day. I really could. And then you have Roslovic scoring on an empty net. He redeemed himself because if you guys remember, if you watched the game earlier, I think was it like maybe 30 seconds earlier? I can't remember how long it was, but Roslovic had a gaping open net because New Jersey pulled their goalie, and he was pretty close to the nets, even though it might have been a sharp angle, but he hit the post. But Roslovic was able to score on the empty nets and solidify a 5-2 win. Carolina played a very, very great game. It's one of those games where you got to build off of it because it does remind me a little bit of the Rangers game in the fact that I thought they played very well. They won, and then they had that crappy performance in Nashville. So, need to build off of this. Next game is at Columbus, New Year's Eve. Let's see if they can win that game. I think they can. It's a winnable game. Columbus, even though I think they've been doing pretty good, they can win against Columbus. If you can win against New Jersey, you can win against Columbus. That is the big thing. So, great win. And another thing, too, I do want to point out is this was the first game where Brett Pesce returned to Lenovo Center. And I love the tribute that we had for Pesce. He was definitely a staple for this organization. I might have gotten a little bit emotional in that tribute just because of the amount of years and impact that he's had with this team. But great tribute nonetheless. But we were able to beat New Jersey. Let's build off of that. I truly think this team desperately needs a stretch of games where they just go on a win streak, like a 4-game win streak, you know? So we'll see what happens at Columbus. Again, take it one game at a time. But that is it for this episode, guys. That was just a fun New Jersey game Saturday last night. Wow, amazing. Well, we will see you guys Friday.